I had one guy that we helped had been quoted 24,000 Australian dollars for the work he needed to have done, and he asked about coming over here, and he came over here and used a dentist here, different to the one we used, and he stayed for 3 weeks here, got all the work done, and his total cost with the holiday and the work was about 7,000 Australian dollars.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Bali Insiders podcast. And on this episode, we are going to be talking about dentistry in Bali.
we did consider doing a big zoom up of our teeth.
Actually, would have been really funny. We should do a poll. Who wanted that?
Who wanted a zoom up of our teeth? So we've had lots of questions come through from you asking about dental experiences in Bali. So we thought, total disclaimer, this is not a medical advice podcast.
No.
This is Emma and I telling you our personal experiences and family's experiences of visiting the dentist in Bali, prices, treatments we've had done, how it compares to dentists we went to back home.
Yep.
It's not a sponsored episode. We're not naming dentists. We're just going to give you our general feedback on things we've had done and what you can expect when you come to the dentist here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we will link also at the end an article that you have written.
Yes. If you want some more details, I
Yes.
have like a My Little Dental Journey article, so you can read that and get more in-depth
more information.
details.
But hopefully we answer some of those questions that have been coming through about dentistry in Bali and
what you can expect. Because it is common, especially for Australians, to come over here and get dentistry work done on their holiday. And of course, if you're looking to move over here or you're living here, it's interesting to know what you can expect from the dental system here in Bali.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's get started, Em.
Let's get right into it.
So the first question we had is, what are dental clinics like in Bali? Like, what can you expect when you walk into a dentist here? Or, as known here, is Dr. Gigi.
Yes.
Dr. Gigi.
So yeah, I think, like everything, it ranges from, quite basic to absolute state of the art with all of the technology. In my personal experience, I was shocked at some of, the stuff that they were using. And I don't know if that's just because I hadn't been to the dentist for a little while I wasn't aware.
I agree. Some of the technology I've seen here has been, we've been to very basic dentists, which are, we've never had a bad experience. So we've been to very basic ones that are a room and the equipment, and that is it. And then of course we've been to ones where you're like, wow, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
High end.
Yeah. I think there are plenty of incredible options here.
Lots
sure.
of dentists around. They're around everywhere. There's lots of them.
Yeah.
So next question is, in your experience, how does a dentist visit compare in Bali in price, which is obviously a big question that's been coming through about the price, and service to back home? So I don't know. I've only ever had experience of dentists in Australia or Bali. I don't know if you've been to dentist anywhere else in the world.
Have not, no.
So we'll compare it to our experiences in Australia. Yeah. So definitely, price-wise, way cheaper, less than half the price. I kind of always compare like the clean. I think a clean in Australia, I was paying anywhere between 120 to 150 Australian dollars for a scale and clean.
A scale and clean, yeah.
And here you usually pay between, if we're talking Australian dollars, you pay between 30 to 50 Australian dollars.
And I think in terms of the service, like, a lot of people listening will know also when you're pregnant, you've got to be really careful of your teeth and your gums and your teeth health and all of that stuff. I went for quite a few when I was pregnant here, and the detail and also like the feedback that they provided afterwards was unbelievable compared to, the rush of going to a dentist back in Australia and just getting the
get in clean and get out, or having to book months in advance and things like that. I definitely agree that the personalised service is a big difference here. Like, you know, I've literally chatted to my dentist on Instagram
Yes.
about my teeth
Yes.
or about, you know, hey, I want to do this and get advice. And I think that threads through everything here in Bali. The same thing is like you have closer access to medical professionals
Absolutely.
than what I find we do in Australia. It's much easier to communicate
Definitely.
directly.
WhatsApp, as
Yeah,
you
that's
said,
right.
Instagram.
Yeah. After every visit the next day, I always get a message saying, give us an update. How does it feel? You any questions?
The aftercare is really, really good.
But the price is definitely a fraction, a fraction of what you pay in Australia. I don't know about other countries' dental prices, but I find Australian dentistry like super expensive.
And as we said, not, you know, it's not taking away from the experience or the quality or anything like that. It is state of the art.
Yeah. So we thought we'd give you a little bit of a overview of what we've had done at the dentist, because especially Em and I have kind of been on a little joint journey.
We have.
Been on a little joint dentistry journey lately. So for the first 5 years of us living here, we just had very basic things done. Scaling cleans. I've never had a filling, but my husband's had fillings here. My daughter had to have a couple of her baby teeth wouldn't come out, so she had to have her teeth pulled out. But we've not really experienced anything major dentistry up until story time. So I've always had like a slight overlap in the front of my teeth. Oh, I lost an earring. Okay, I'm going to take both out so I don't look uneven all the way. Gosh, podcast life. Earrings will just go there for a moment.
Yes.
So I have always had like a little overlap, like where my teeth kind of were like that.
Very
minimal.
Minor.
I didn't know. It never bothered me. The overlaps never bothered me. I've never had it fixed or anything like that. But I was sliding down a ling-a-ling waterfall in North Bali, which is really fun because you can take like this body slide where you.
How fun.
It's super fun.
Okay, that's another episode.
But don't do what I did. And I literally like hit myself. I don't know how, but in the wildness of sliding down, I hit myself. And the tooth that was behind went back a little bit. So front on, it looks fine. But if I was like side on, this one at the front would cast a shadow sometimes. So sometimes in photo, I look like I was missing one of my front teeth. Not an ideal look.
No.
I don't recommend it. So during COVID, a new dental company opened up here who did similar to what, the Aussies would know as Invisalign. So, you know, that's where you go there and they scan your teeth and you wear the little like clear trays.
Yes.
Clear trays, and you change them every week and it slowly spaces your
flattens
teeth.
them out.
Yeah. So they'd opened here and speaking of price, you know, incredibly like way cheaper. Like I think that whole treatment was like $7 million, like so 700 Australian dollars, compared to I'd had a friend do it in Australia and it cost like 12,000. Dollars, right?
Yeah.
So I went there. They checked my teeth. They gave me a beautiful 3D video to show how my teeth would change. And then I got all of my plates and I was wearing them and it was working so well. But then it was a Karlie problem, not a dentist problem. I don't know. I got really claustrophobic about wearing the plates, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I just stopped doing it. I was like, my teeth are already like quite straight now.
You happy with where they're at?
I'm happy with where they're at.
I'm happy with this.
I didn't seek any follow-up. I just stopped. I was like, I'm done wearing them. It's a stupid thing to do. Don't advise it.
Yes.
And I stopped wearing it. And it was fine for the first 6 months. But then, of course, because I didn't finish it and I didn't do the follow-up, that tooth started to move back. And it actually ended up moving back further than before I started. So I was like, oh, my gosh, now I'm back at the beginning. So then I went back to another dentist that I've known since before we moved here. And I used to, when we were holidays, I'd come and get a scale and clean from him. And he'd message me to say, Karlie, I've opened this new dentist clinic, come and visit me. And so I did. And I said to him, look, I need to do something about this.
What do we do about this?
I was like, I'm always on camera or getting my photo taken. And if I'm not like looking straight at the camera, if I'm slightly to the side, I look like I'm missing a tooth. And so basically he said to me, you got two choices. You can either have traditional braces, like if you don't want to do the Invisalign process, which you didn't finish it last time.
Yes, you're not doing that again.
You
Fail.
You can do, physical braces because you can't take them off.
Like a child.
Like a child.
You cannot be trusted.
So embarrassing. So you can do physical braces, or you can consider veneers. And I was like, well, my daughter's about to get braces. I can't
Yes. Yeah.
we're not just both going to be twinning with braces. And I was like, okay, but I've never even so much as had a filling. So the thought of veneers was scary, but he talked me through it, and he explained the process. Listen, we can start with photos now. You can come back. I'll give you a 3D mock-up of what it'll look like. We can put basically just gluing on top of what I've already got now. Funny story though. So I did this, and he goes, so he took the mold of my mouth and he says, come back and we'll glue these ones on top to show you what it'll look like. He said, it'll look like you'll look a bit bucktooth because it's teeth glued on top of teeth, but we're just showing you the shape. But I obviously didn't clearly understand because I lay down and he glued them on, and I got up and I looked in the mirror and they were like so long, like these I was like, oh my God, what have you done?
No.
What have you done? Take them off immediately. And he's like, no. Now we kind of shave them back because we're getting an idea of the shape you'd like and the length you'd like and everything like that. So then slowly during that visit, he shaved back until I was like, oh yeah, no, I really like that shape.
This is what I want.
And then he was like, okay, well, you're ready to go. We can start. And I was like, no, I need some more.
Yes.
I need some more time. So I went home and thought about it. I was like, no, I'm going to get this done. And so then I came back. They did the shaving down. I don't know. I asked not to see that
No.
part of it. And then he put temporary teeth, but not like the double glued bucked ones. It was they looked like, you look back to the photos now and they look exactly like this. They felt a little bit different because from the back, my tongue on them, it felt like that was all smooth, like that was all one.
It's just one big tooth.
Yeah, one big tooth. So basically,
but it's just temporary.
So it's just temporary. It was he explained to me that period was he'd done all the scanning and molding and everything, and then he sends all the dimensions and molds to Java because, as far as I'm aware, he said there's not a factory that produces veneers.
A lab.
Yeah, a lab.
Laboratory. Not a factory.
What is a factory kind of?
The tooth factory?
Well, there's not a tooth factory or lab here in Bali, actually, that makes them. So they have to send all the molds and the specs to Java, and they get made there, and then you have to wait for your teeth to come back here.
From the factory.
Sounds very unglamorous. It was a fine process. So I go out of that appointment with the temporaries on. So to anyone else, it looks exactly like my teeth would look. To me, they did say to me, you've got to be careful. I couldn't bite into an apple with them because they're temporary.
Yes.
they could.
No
come
eating
off.
Werther's originals.
Yeah. And no Werther's. But from the back, they just felt so I did 6. So it was felt like one tooth. And then I had to wait for them to return from Java, and then they called me back in, and then they got attached, and then
here we are.
So that whole process took about 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And it probably could have been a little bit quicker, but I had that hesitation where I went home for a few days and thought about it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that experience for me was excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. I loved the results. I loved the way I got talked through everything.
And even providing, right at the start, you said, he kind of gave you the option of the more invasive or the less invasive. There's different options here. They weren't just going for the straight, veneer option. You need this.
Yeah.
These are your options, and talked you through those, which I think is really important. And that you know all of your
photos at every stage. So even like once it all ended, I was like, can I have all of my photos, which you'll be able to see in now if you look at my article. But I loved that because I could go back and check, and I could look at everything. And every time I came in, it was on the big screen, and he'd talk about
and see the progress.
Yeah, but really in-depth knowledge about the aesthetic of teeth and, you know, how it should look, and even right down to choosing the color. You know, he said people make the mistake often of going too white. It's got to match the whites of your eyes. And
otherwise it can make you look sick.
Yeah, it can make you look sick if you've got these big gleaming veneers down there. Yeah, I really appreciated, because that was my worry, is I've seen some bad veneers.
Yeah.
You know, where people are like, it's all teeth and super white and stuff. So that was probably my biggest concern about veneers. And so he was very reassuring in every step of that way, and knew a lot about aesthetics.
Yeah.
A lot about how to aesthetically make it look good. And then basically I was like, wow, I should have done this, you know, a couple of years ago when I punched myself in the face and moved my tooth. So I had an awesome experience with getting my veneers done there, and loved it, and haven't looked back.
Yep.
And then we come to record the podcast, and Emma's like, what have you done? Did you do your teeth?
But do you know what? I wasn't straight away like, what have you done to your teeth?
Yeah.
Like they look so great and natural. Like I knew something was different.
Yeah. But
I couldn't pinpoint it. So it wasn't like, you know, you'd had these big veneers put on, but I was just like, your teeth look amazing. Like something's different.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a really good sign of a great job, like a great, some great work.
Yeah. And most people haven't really noticed unless they looked super close to my teeth before.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I liked about it. I liked that it's not a super huge change, but I don't have to worry about now that looking like I am missing a tooth. And of course, price-wise, I think it cost me $24 million, which is $2,400 Australian for the whole thing, which was six veneers and the whole, like the temporary teeth, the visits, the everything like that.
So then I come in and go, oh my gosh, these are amazing. I need to do it. So obviously my story is that when I've had a lot of dental work done, orthodontic work when I was a teenager, my mum will probably hate that I've had this done because she spent so much money. She doesn't know yet. Hi, Mum. And they've just, after I had children, my teeth moved, and it was bizarre. And I had plates and things like that over the years, and obviously the same thing. Didn't really wear them, wore them for a bit, and then thought they were fine and lost them, whatever. And I was becoming really self-conscious, I think, of the fact that my teeth had moved. I've always had a gap, which I've never minded. I've always been okay with that. But after I had the children, I really noticed it was becoming a lot bigger, but also they were becoming uneven.
Yeah, so one had moved up and one had moved down.
Yes, yeah, and obviously doing things like this and,
having a camera in your face
you've
all the
got
time.
These amazing teeth. I was like, that's it. I'm fixing this.
That's it. I've got my 40th soon, and that is it.
Exactly.
It's my present to myself.
My present to myself. So anyway, I got in touch and, set up a consultation at the same place Karlie went to. And again, the experience has been faultless, I think, to now.
So he suggested something different for you, though, right?
Yes. So because obviously I had some bigger gaps and things like that, instead of just placing the veneers on my teeth, he suggested that I have crowns so that they can shape teeth to fill the gaps. And I was like, crowns? Oh my gosh, only old people get crowns. I'm like, weird. But once he went through the process, explained everything, I was really confident and comfortable with his suggestion. Again, he said the same thing. I could get braces. But I'm like,
Emma did the same thing. I've got my 40th coming up.
I'm not wearing braces. I've already done that. Been there, done that. I don't need braces again.
Bali Insiders podcast is proudly sponsored by Lighthouse Studios right here in Bali.
This space has been specifically designed for entrepreneurs, podcasters, coaches, and educators of all kinds. You can record podcasts just like ours, as well as masterclasses, social media content, and so much more.
They have awesome customizable studios to choose from. And most importantly, they take care of absolutely everything. The cameras, the microphones, the lights, even if you wish, the editing. They make it so easy.
And as well as the studios, they have a co-working cafe and some of the best food and coffee on the island of Bali. We highly recommend that you come in for a tour and have a chat about how you can create your own epic video and audio content.
You can visit them on Instagram at Lighthouse Studios Bali or jump on their website, wearelight.house.
And, obviously the time factor is amazing. So for me and for us, because we live here, that is quite a short amount of time to have a process like that where you then end up with some beautiful brand new teeth.
In a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He took me through the process, took all the photos. Again, with the price was incredible compared to what I had spoken to friends about in Australia.
What are yours? Yours are 8.
So I've got 8.
Yep.
And I'm in the middle of the process at the moment.
She's temporary teeth.
So
temporary tooth.
temporary tooth. So people are actually watching this now. Before, when it was just us chatting, they'd be like, okay, but now they can actually see.
No, but now you can see that the temporary teeth, that is the temporary stage.
Yes.
They just look like normal teeth.
Yeah. So again, just being careful, but it's going to be about a 2-week process to send the molds to the factory.
The tooth factory.
To the tooth factory. To the lab. And then I go back in and they put the permanent ones on.
But he did say something interesting to you too, didn't he? Because this will come up later when we talk about considerations of getting dental work done here.
Yes.
Is he said, because you live here and you can take it longer, he said, I can actually send yours to a better factory lab, a better lab. They take a bit longer.
Yeah.
But he said their work is better.
Yeah. So they can adjust the time based on your length of stay. So if you're here for a holiday, and we will talk about this a bit later on.
Yeah.
But, I guess the key takeout from that is the longer that you can,
the better options.
The longer that you're here and allow.
Especially if it comes to something where they need to send it to Java, like veneers or crowns, basically.
Yeah.
Is that time factor.
Yes,
there.
Definitely.
So you're waiting for your delivery of teeth.
So I'm just waiting for the delivery and the call up.
And once her teeth get delivered, she's back in there.
I'm back. Yeah.
So that's basically our smile transformation stories that has really only just happened in real time.
Yeah,
like mine
it's happening in real time.
Well, yours is literally in the middle. Mine was finished in October last year.
Yeah.
And Emma's is like literally in the middle of it right now. So there's a bit of like instant feedback.
Yes.
Of where we're at. So that's when it comes to, veneers and crowns and things like that. Back when I did travel agency, we organised a few holidays for people who needed more things like root canals and more like, so ours is obviously aesthetic.
Yes.
But theirs was more medical.
Like a medical treatment.
Yeah. And I had one guy that we helped had been quoted 24,000 Australian dollars for the work he needed to have done. And he asked about coming over here, and he came over here and used a dentist here, different to the one we used. And he stayed for 3 weeks here, got all the work done. And his total cost with the holiday and the work was about 7,000 Australian dollars. So there are people who do that.
Yep.
And he's never had any complaints since that was about 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Wow.
So there. So other questions we've got sent in is about whitening. So whitening, you'll see like, you would have seen in Seminyak and stuff like that. There's the streets, like the street whitening ones where you can go in and sit in the little pods, get your teeth whitened for 45 minutes. I've done them plenty of times and they absolutely work, but they don't last as long. That's like about, keep your teeth white for 3 to 6 months, I guess, depending on how much coffee or red wine you drink. So it definitely works. They're cheap. It doesn't cost much money, like $45, 450,000 rupiah. Or something I did years ago. So 17 years ago in Australia, I got Zoom whitening. So like laser whitening when it very first came out. So 17 years ago, a long time ago, and it cost me $1,100 back then, Australian, which is 11 million rupiah if you're talking in rupiah ads, which is a lot of money.
A lot.
But it was excellent. I was like, so the product's called Zoom and I would 100 times get it done again. But you can get Zoom done in Bali. I don't know how much it costs in Australia these days. Maybe it's cheaper in Australia these days, but you can get it done in Bali. And I've seen it advertised for between 3 to 4 million rupiah, which is 300 to 400 Australian dollars. And it's the same product. So there's 2 types of whitenings available when you come to Bali. You can do.
And is Zoom, just out of curiosity, is that like a brand, or is that
I believe
like,
Zoom
so you
is
go to like Zoom, or you go to like?
No, you get Zoom at a dentist, but it is a brand, I believe. It's a brand of laser.
So the
whitening.
Dentist will do
deliver
the Zoom.
Yeah. So basically you laid there and they, clamp your mouth open and it has like the light right down on your teeth. And I think I did it like 3 sessions of it.
Yeah, okay.
But it does make your teeth like a little bit sensitive, or at least it did back then. Like your teeth, like for the next few days, you'd get like
the little pangs.
And you weren't allowed to eat like coloured food for the next 3 days because I think they said like
have rainbow teeth.
Yeah, well the pores on your teeth are open from the laser, so it can soak it up or something like that. But it is a little bit the same when you get the street side ones. They're not laser, they're more like a light.
Yeah.
But they
that
say
blue light, isn't it?
Yeah. You sit
I've had
there
that done.
Yeah, but the same thing, they say that you shouldn't eat coloured foods for the next couple of days, but it's nowhere near as sensitive as when you get like the full
proper
laser. But yeah, you can definitely get it done here. It's lots of holiday makers get it done. I'd probably just recommend if you do that, get it done on your last day so that you can enjoy all the food,
your
and
holiday,
red wine and or whatever, the
when you're going back
and stuff
for a detox.
Yeah, do it on your last day if you're doing that here. So we had a question about braces. So like I said, after I got my veneers done, I took my daughter Cami. She was ready for braces. So she's in the middle of her braces treatment there. They gave me, so price-wise, they gave me like a schedule to choose from. So you could get like traditional, like the metal braces, you could get clear braces, or you could get ceramic braces. That all had a different price. And then you could also choose from traditional braces where you wear the bands.
Oh, yep.
Or I hope I say this right, I think it's self-ligating, where they adjust themselves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
So you only need to, so with the self-ligating, if that's the way you say it, feel free to correct me. You only need to go back to see the dentist every 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Adjusting. Whereas with the bands, you need to go back every month.
Yeah.
So the self-ligating was more expensive. So the traditional bands ones, if you went with the metal, it started at like, I think 300 Australian dollars for the whole.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy. And then it went up in price depending on like, if you wanted clear, it was a bit more expensive. If you wanted ceramic, it was a bit more expensive. And then if you wanted self-ligating, it was more expensive again. So we went up with we did the self-ligating because I was like, it's just.
It's going to be easier.
Yeah, I don't have to go back to the dentist.
Yeah.
And she wanted the metal. I was like, why don't you get the,
because I feel like it's a thing when you're a teenager too. Like I even remember when I had braces and I was like, and you got to choose the colours.
Yeah.
If you had the metal.
Yeah. Like I was like, don't you want like the ceramic ones? And just, no, I want the metal ones. Okay. So she wanted the metal one. So she got the self-ligating metal. And for the whole process, which they expect to take about a year, cost me 20 mil, which actually is quite expensive which is 2,000 Australian dollars. Quite expensive for my local friends are having a heart attack that I'm paying that much. But because we chose But anyone who's had braces in Australia thinks that's so cheap.
Yeah.
Because you know that they can, I think they're like $10,000 to $15,000.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't pay for them back then, but
well, ask your mum.
last month.
Now you've just had them chiseled off.
Yeah.
But that's our experience with braces. So that's been very seamless, very easy.
Yep.
We're about a quarter of the way
it's
through.
Such a relief, because I think about all those things too. Like now I've got little kids and like the things that like our parents had to do. And I was always like, oh my gosh, dentistry, like dental work for kids. Oh my goodness. And now it's like, it's super affordable and
super easy.
So
now that we've given you all we've had excellent experiences. Like I said, I've been to a number of different dentists here.
Mm-hmm.
I've not, touch wood, had a bad experience at a dentist here. But there are things to consider and especially if you're thinking about doing it on your holiday, which lots of people do. But we wanted to give you the things to think about and the feedback we've been given from the dentists themselves about things to consider. So the first one obviously is your insurance. Make sure you're covered for pre-planned medical visits, because that's different to a travel insurance that's there for if you have an accident or an emergency. So I don't have recommendations there, but I would definitely check your product disclosure statement to make sure if you're planning on having dentistry work done in Bali that you are covered if anything goes wrong or you get an infection or whatever. You don't want a weird surprise that then goes, well, no, we don't cover you because you had a pre-planned medical appointment.
Yeah.
So that is number one. Check your insurance, check you're covered if you're getting it done here.
Yeah. I think the other one, and this has come directly from the dentist as well, is the length of your stay. So if you are planning something a bit more, I guess, invasive or, crowns or veneers, something that's going to take a bit more
canals,
time. Or that requires multiple visits, then think about that when you're booking your trip. Obviously, you've got, for our experience, there's at least a 2-week period between your first consultation and getting your actual permanent teeth on.
Your teeth from the factory.
Your teeth from the factory when they come back. So, consider that. You don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
The dentist that we go to has actually said that he's got 2 factories, one that can do it a lot quicker, but the quality isn't quite as good.
It's not as high a standard as the one that takes
longer.
We appreciate that he's so
honest
transparent about that.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you want them done quicker,
we can,
but this is my experience from.
And I think they're still great, but he's,
I think they're still really good, because I don't think he would do them if they didn't, because he has said he's had to say no to, especially to tourists who are like, no, I want to come in and I'm here for 2 weeks and I want them done. And he's like, I honestly, I can't guarantee that.
I can't get them done. Yeah. So consider that, your length of stay, so that you get the best quality outcome.
Yeah. And that may be talking to the dentist before you come and getting a clear indication of how long. And then it could be different once you get here too, right? And they see your teeth and they're like, well, actually, we need to do this and this and this before we can do this.
Yes.
So come with realistic expectations, I think.
Yeah. And a consultation, do your research.
Have your bookings made. Don't think you're just going to turn up and pop in and, that may work for a scaling clean. I know lots of people come over for holidays and you can kind of get them done everywhere. There's lots of places easy that you pretty much can get an appointment straight away. But that's definitely something to think about, is pre-planning, pre-booking.
Yeah.
And then if it's something like you are thinking of something like braces, and I've had a lot of questions about this, but what I encourage people is you need to check with your dentist back home that they're going to be happy to do the checkups or the maintenance, because there are a lot. When we lived in Australia, our dentists were like, we won't touch it if it's been done overseas.
And that will also fall under your insurance too. If you're using your dental cover in your insurance in Australia, they may not cover that.
you there. So you definitely want to look into those things, unless you travel back here all the time anyway, so the checkups are not a problem. Like maybe you live in Darwin or Perth and you come every couple of months. But if you've got any issues in the meantime, you have to make sure that your dentist back home is happy to treat you, because I know there's especially a big rivalry between, don't come at us Australian dentists with hate, please. We're just saying our experience.
We're helping.
We're just saying our experience.
Yes.
Don't come at us with hate. So, and then the most important is research.
Yep.
Research who you're going to. If you can, talk to people who have had similar or the same treatments at the dentist.
And it's easily done now, you know, with
there's
like
forums
everything.
everywhere.
Yeah, there is so much information out there. There's reviews, there's, you know.
Get on Facebook, have a look at different groups that talk about things like this, ask questions, ask for recommendations, ask your dentist to put you in touch with somebody who's willing to give them a review. You must do your research.
Yep.
It is not just drop into any dentist here and you're going to have, you know,
a great
excellent experience. You definitely need to have a look and do some research and make sure you're comfortable with your decision.
Yep.
But yes, so to answer your questions, our experiences here have been really good.
Yep.
Happy with the work we've done. The price is amazing. You know, my kids have been through, I don't know if your kids are at dentist age yet, but
they should be. Yeah. We actually do, but we've spoken to lots of parents. So just on the kid note thing with the dentist, lots of parents here are so impressed with the dentist because they often will have like a room set up just for the kids, and they're themed and, you know,
make them feel really comfortable.
So that first experience at the dentist, like when we were kids, isn't a terrifying one.
Yeah, where you're walking in and there's cameras.
It's just like in the white chair and then all the tools.
Yeah.
So they, I think for kids, it's an amazing experience and probably a really good one if you come back a lot, that they, you know, they can see the same dentist here at a lot less of the cost.
Yeah. A lot less.
Because we're talking baby teeth here. Like they're not around for the long haul. Like
I know. Well, actually, we had to pay to get Cameron's, my 13-year-old, just her baby teeth just wouldn't fall out. So every time a new one was growing, we'd have to get it pulled out because the other one, it would start to hurt. And I think I paid $250K, so 25 Australian dollars every time. And that was a dentist that was like literally 3 houses up from where we live. And I'd just text her and I'm like, we got another one. She'd like,
come on over.
She'd come in, you know, give her the local anesthetic, pull it out, you know, done. And we did that for about 8 of her teeth.
Wow.
Yeah. So our experiences have been really good. We hope that answered a lot of your questions. We are not dentists. Please don't send us like technical questions.
No technical questions.
We hesitated on giving you this podcast because we know it's going to come with lots of questions, and we do not want to pretend we are experts in any stretch of the imaginations. We're just giving you what we as regular everyday mums have experienced with our teeth. And if you want to see some more close-up photos like before and after photos and things like that, I do have an article written on it, so you can click on that in the show notes and you can go spy my teeth so we don't have to do a big close-up
post.
Big close-up zoom into
maybe that's when how we can end the episode.
We can end it with like
a zoom.
We just had a coffee, no way.
No one needs to see that. Doesn't matter how nice they are.
No, so there you go. That's dentistry in Bali from our point of view. We love when you send us these kind of questions because for us they're like things that we're doing here anyway, so it's easy for us to answer, especially if it's just from our point of view.
Yes.
So,
and if there's anything, like we're happy to try things within reason.
Yeah, what are we going to get you to try?
Actually, now I'm regretting I said that.
Send in something for me to organise for Emma to try.
Oh my gosh.
To try. But there you go. That's our dentistry episode and our experiences. And so send those things in. I like doing the little Bali Insider
I know.
episodes.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So yeah, if you've got any more things like, things that happen in life here, send them in and we can...
Questions. We can do more polls on things. I think they're being really, really...
Yeah, the polls have been good. So make sure you're with us on Instagram because we quite often, or like for dentistry, we threw out like, do you have questions about dentistry in Bali? So that's your chance to put your question in so that if we don't know the answer, we can try and find out for you before.
Yeah. So definitely follow Instagram, Facebook, send through your questions.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes, subscribe, even if it's just for our own vanity reasons, even if you listen to us. And you don't want to see us, but you probably want to see us this episode.
Well, this episode I think is quite a visual one.
Yes. But just subscribe to us. But we will be back next week with another fab interview for you.
Bye.